Well, look, Keir Starmer's new cabinet's off to a swimming start already following the resignation of Deputy PM Angela Rayner. More than 1,000 small boat migrants crossed the Channel illegally on Saturday alone. This is a shocking first full day in the office for the new Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood. But do we expect anything less, especially when this is now the woman in charge of the borders? Have a look.
So they're calling on Sainsbury's and all other stores, trade, settlement foods, that they stop from doing so, that they do not support people who have broken international law. There's a huge response today, just here in central Birmingham. It's incredible to see, and the passion here of all of the community campaigning is incredible to see.
Now, Tom, that was at a rally in 2014 calling to globalise the Intifada, and that's the woman in charge of visas and borders. What an exciting time if you're an illegal.
The funny thing about Shabana Mahmood is that actually, of all of the people they could have picked, she's easily the most sort of right-wing. She's got a kind of reputation for being pretty conservative, is clearly quite keen to get on top of the small boats issue. It's just that naturally, when you're dealing with the Labour Party, there's always some questionable position on Palestine. I believe there she was protesting outside of a Sainsbury's because it was holding goods from the occupied West Bank, as they would call it. So even though this is an appointment which on paper would make more sense because of the fact that she's certainly to the right of her predecessor, Yvette Cooper, in office, it's clear it's not going to make the blindest bit of difference unless they're willing to look at the European Court of Human Rights, unless they're willing to look at the Refugee Convention, things that Keir Starmer seems kind of constitutionally incapable of dealing with. And we're going to just end up with the same situation, more and more people making that perilous crossing across the Channel. Right now, it seems like the only thing that controls it is the weather. If it's a good, clear, quiet day, you'll have a lot of people come over. If it's rainy and windy, you'll have fewer. It's almost like the government is incapable of acting in this situation.
I want to ask you about the government cracking down on an organisation they've just prescribed as a terrorist-listed organisation. They've arrested 450 people in the UK just the other day for supporting Palestine Action, which, as I said, the government has deemed to be a terrorist organisation. This has been described as one of the biggest acts of civil disobedience in recent years. As I said, 450 people arrested in one hit.
No, absolutely. There's only something like 500 police cells in London at any one time that are occupied. So this is a huge, huge sort of police operation. I think two things can be true at the same time. Palestine Action are a disgraceful organisation. People know about them targeting RAF bases and causing millions of pounds of damage. That's bad enough. They also had their activists targeting Jewish businesses in North London over tenuous, in fact, completely bogus connections to Israeli arms manufacturers. So these people are really not to be celebrated. I think the problem is by prescribing them, it also means that anyone who even just expresses support for them just holds up one of these placards you see them holding up saying, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action," means they are liable for arrest. And it's created, first of all, a tremendous headache for the police, but it's also handed kind of martyr status to some of the worst people imaginable. And I think this is something which was always going to be the consequence of taking this move to prescribe. I think the focus should have been on locking up people who engage in the criminal action, but when it came to speech, let's not hand them a martyr status they really don't deserve.
No, fair enough.